Hello everyone, I am Casey the Gamer, and it's time for another game review. This time, we are taking a look at Mega Man X and Zero's next portable adventure in Mega Man Xtreme 2. Mega Man Xtreme 2 was developed by Capcom and was released in Japan on July 19, 2001, and in November 2001 in North America for the Gameboy Color. Much like the first Mega Man Xtreme, I didn't really play this one when I was younger. I know I messed around with it on emulators and all that, but I never really got into it. But I have now. I've managed to beat the game, and I am ready to talk about it. There are spoilers ahead for the story of the game. And also, some of the footage will have some flashing lights. So if you're sensitive to that, just keep that in mind. I'm going to try my best not to use too much of that footage, though. Mega Man Xtreme 2 features a story mode for X, where he will fight certain bosses, a story mode for Zero, who has different bosses than X, and then there is the Extreme mode that unlocks when you beat both X and Zero's modes. Extreme mode mashes both stories together, and you can switch between X and Zero pretty much whenever you want. And in this game, it offers more story, unlike in the first Xtreme game. Anyway, Mega Man Xtreme 2 takes place between Mega Man X3 and X4. For some reason, the programs of Reploids are being erased, causing them to become empty shells. This phenomenon was named erasure, and it began to cause a panic. On Lagoo's Island, a bunch of Reploid signatures suddenly disappeared. Maverick Hunters X and Zero head to the island to investigate. Upon arriving on the island, Iris, who is working as a navigator for this mission, asks what the situation is. X says he has found some out-of-commission Reploids, and all of the others have become Mavericks. Zero says they will begin exploring the island further. After fighting their way through the island for a bit, X and Zero meet up again, and X explains that he has encountered Mavericks that he's destroyed before. Zero wonders if they came back by themselves, or if someone is behind the whole ordeal. X and Zero split up again, and X battles the first boss. Whatever the hell this thing is. It looks cool, though. After defeating the boss, X and Zero come to the realization that there are more enemies to deal with than expected. Iris tells X and Zero that they have received a message from an unknown Reploid. This Reploid is a soul eraser. He erases the souls of evil Mavericks, and he wants to play a game with X and Zero. He says that there are 8 Guardians on the island. This Reploid will battle X and Zero if they defeat all 8 of them. The Reploid introduces himself as Gareth. Iris says that she can't find anything in the database about Gareth. She also mentions finding an unknown item. Zero says that they've also found something unusual. DNA data just draining out of defeated enemies. Gareth is apparently erasing Reploids and using their DNA to create items and revive old Mavericks. X and Zero split up to take on the 8 Guardians, more Mavericks from the past like in Xtreme 1. X must deal with Neon Tiger, Launch Octopus, Volt Catfish, and Flame Mammoth. Zero, on the other hand, runs into Blast Hornet, Tunnel Rhino, Wire Sponge, and Overdrive Ostrich. A nice mix of bosses from X1 to X3 for our heroes to battle. After X and Zero defeat a couple of the Mavericks, Gareth is seen meeting with a Reploid named Burkana. Burkana thinks that X and Zero have been very entertaining so far. Gareth tells Burkana that it's unwise to let X and Zero act on the island, and that they should be terminated immediately. Burkana says not yet. She wants the data of X and Zero. The more they fight, the stronger they'll become, making the data that they would acquire even better. Gareth tries telling Burkana that they have enough DNA data and that they don't need any more. They are both in agreement, at least, that it's dangerous to fight both X and Zero at the same time. Burkana then says she wants to keep watching them for a while, and that maybe one of the Guardians will get lucky and destroy them. X and Zero defeat all of the Guardians, and Gareth confronts them to give them a message. Just that he'll be waiting for them in the Reploid research lab. Iris tries to tell X and Zero that the lab is dangerous, but they're going anyway to put an end to things. X and Zero enter the lab and begin to fight their way through the Mavericks there. Further in, they encounter Velgarder, Sigma's dog from X1. Velgarder is defeated and our heroes move on and do battle with the Sphinx tank. Once the tank is dealt with, X and Zero split up to take on Burkana and Gareth. X goes after Burkana and Zero goes after Gareth. X and Burkana engage in a crazy battle, but X ultimately emerges victorious. Meanwhile, Zero is fighting with Gareth, and he manages to defeat him as well. Both X and Zero's endings for the normal mode is just kind of basic. Just them thinking that they can handle anything as long as they have each other. As I mentioned earlier, there is more story in the extreme mode for this game. You have to battle all 8 Mavericks, and then either Burkana or Gareth again. X and Zero still split up, but you only have to fight one of them. After they are dealt with, it is revealed that, and I know you will never believe it, but it's revealed that Sigma is back, and he was behind the whole thing once again. Completely unbelievable. X and Zero take off after Sigma, but before they can fight him, they have to deal with the boss rush as usual. Finally, they have Sigma cornered, and he is rocking his X2 design with the Wolverine claws. Our heroes defeat Sigma's first form, and he transforms into a new form that looks pretty damn cool. After a grueling battle, Sigma is defeated once again. After Sigma's defeat, the DNA data, or souls of the Reploids, can be seen flying around the island and returning to their rightful owners. X is hopeful that the empty Reploids will come back online, and Iris contacts both X and Zero to confirm that the Reploids are indeed coming back to life. And that's the story. It's pretty simple and nothing too crazy, but overall I really enjoy it. It was nice to see Iris in another game taking place before X4, before things go bad for her. And it was cool to have a female villain in the X series for a change with Burkana. I just wish she would have been the main villain instead of it being Sigma yet again. Before jumping into the gameplay, just giving another heads up about more flashing lights. Once again, hoping to keep the footage of it very brief. Mega Man Xtreme 2 plays just like the first Mega Man Xtreme and the other X games. As always, you'll be running, jumping, dashing, and shooting your way through the stages. And you'll also be slashing your way through the stages because Zero is now playable in this game with his own story mode. If you loved playing as Zero in X4 through X6, you'll more or less feel right at home playing as him in this game. So, as I mentioned in the story section, both X and Zero have their own story mode with their own bosses that need to be completed in order to unlock Extreme Mode. Extreme Mode mashes both X and Zero's modes together. There are a total of 8 heart tanks to increase your health as usual, but they are split between the two modes. X gets 4 and Zero gets 4. In Extreme Mode, you'll have access to all 8, but I went ahead and still split them evenly between the two characters. There are also a total of just 2 sub-tanks in the game. The first Extreme game made me happy to have 4 sub-tanks again, and now we're reduced to 2 like in the more modern X games. It's still easy enough to manage, I suppose. At least refilling them isn't as much of a pain as it was in the first game. The enemies drop health more regularly in this one, and I am so happy about that. There are also upgrade capsules for both characters. Upon gaining all 4 upgrade capsules for X, his armor takes on the appearance of the X2 armor, another one of my favorites. Sadly, Zero doesn't gain any cosmetic changes, but it's still nice that he's got some upgrades. Let's take a look at X's upgrades first. The leg upgrade is located in Volt Catfish's stage, and it gives X the ability to air dash left to right and air dash straight up just like in X3. The X-Buster upgrade is located in Flame Mammoth's stage, and it also works like the X3 upgrade. You can charge and store 2 charge shots to fire one right after the other, or if you fire them quick enough, the shots will overlap and create a new charge shot. The body upgrade is located in Launch Octopus's stage, and it reduces the amount of damage that X takes, and it also gives him the Giga Crush ability from X2. The Giga Crush is still an insanely powerful screen nuke. The helmet upgrade is located in Neon Tiger's stage, and it allows X to break blocks with a headbutt. As for Zero's upgrades, the leg upgrade is located in Wire Sponge's stage, and it allows Zero to destroy blocks by jumping off of them. The arm upgrade is located in Tunnel Rhino's stage, and it gives Zero the Zero Final technique, which can destroy enemies and damage bosses. The body upgrade is located in Blast Hornet's stage, and it reduces the amount of damage that Zero takes from enemies. And the helmet upgrade is located in Overdrive Ostrich's stage, and it lets Zero destroy blocks with a headbutt. A new feature in this game that would later be brought over into the main games is the character switching mechanic. Once you reach the final few stages of X or Zero's mode, Iris gives you the ability to switch between characters. In Extreme Mode, you can do it from the start, and it even plays a big role in defeating Sigma's final form. I was really surprised to find out that the switching mechanic started here. A feature brought over from Mega Man X5 is the parts system, which admittedly, I somehow did not pay any attention to until I was having trouble with Sigma's final form. Anyway, you get the DNA souls, and they can be used to unlock new upgrades, like X's Ultimate Buster, which makes all of his shots charge shots, or the upgraded Saber for Zero, which increases the damage he does. I'm kinda sad that I ignored them for so long. Anyway, Mega Man Xtreme 2 features 13 action-packed stages. The intro stage, the 8 Maverick stages, and then the 4 final stages. Once the intro stage is beaten, you are presented with the Mavericks. The weakness order for X's mode is Neon Tiger, Launch Octopus, Flame Mammoth, and Volt Catfish. The weakness order in Zero's mode is Blast Hornet, Tunnel Rhino, Wire Sponge, and Overdrive Ostrich. In Extreme mode, when you have access to all 8 Mavericks and both X and Zero as playable characters, I still just fought all of X's bosses as X and all of Zero's bosses as Zero. Once the bosses are dealt with, it's time to take on the final stages of the game. Here you'll fight Velgarder, who is weak to Ray Claw from X or Drill Crush from Zero. Then there is the Sphinx Tank, which is weak to the Fire Wave or Ray Claw from X and weak to any of Zero's techniques. If you're playing as X, you'll fight Burkana. Burkana is weak to Marine Tornado, Fire Wave, or Tri Thunder, depending on which technique of hers she hits you with. Her main weakness is the Marine Tornado, though. If you're playing as Zero, you'll have to fight Gareth, and he is weak to Drill Crush. And on Extreme mode, once Burkana and Gareth are dealt with, it's time for the final stage. In this stage, you'll have to deal with the boss rush, and they are all weak to the same stuff as they were before. Once the boss rush is over, it's time to fight Sigma. Sigma's first form is weak to the Marine Tornado from X and the Drill Crash or Dash technique from Zero. I think he's an easier fight with X, so that's who I went with. Sigma's final form is weak to the X-Buster and the Marine Tornado from X and the Z-Saber from Zero. This fight with Sigma can be pretty tough. Sigma's final form changes colors throughout the fight, and you can only damage him when he's in 2 of those colors. One of the colors takes no damage at all. As X, you have to hit him quickly enough with charge shots to get his weakened form to appear before you switch to Zero to actually damage him. And this is what I was having the most trouble with before I realized I had ignored the parts system. I equipped X with the Ultimate Buster, and it made the whole ordeal so much easier. Just keep blasting and slashing, and Sigma will eventually go down again, and the game has been beaten. The gameplay in Extreme 2 is super fun, just like in the first game. Overall, it feels like a more polished experience, and including Zero as a playable character was a great choice. Actually making Extreme mode matter by adding more story was also really nice. I loved the switching mechanic being added and having to use it in the final fight, even if it was a pain at first, was awesome. The stages also included some new death traps like rushing water and electrified water that would kill you. But yeah, Extreme 2 is a great follow-up to the first one. The graphics for Mega Man Xtreme 2 are the same as the first one, so I have no issues with them. I love that style, and I think the graphics are great. There was, however, a big improvement in the pixel art cutscenes over the first game. They look even more detailed in this one. The sound effects are great, just like the last one as well. No complaints. And the soundtrack, just like in the first game, is technically a good soundtrack. Just the quality for the Gameboy Color versions of these songs isn't as good as in the original games. Again, I'm not being hard on the Gameboy Color. Everything just has certain limitations, and it doesn't take away from my overall enjoyment of the game. Like the first Mega Man Xtreme, I thought Extreme 2 was a really fun, portable adventure for X and Zero. I had a blast with it, and I loved all of the new additions and improvements that they had in this game. Like I said in the story section, I'm still disappointed that it was just Sigma behind everything again. But oh well. I recommend checking out Mega Man Xtreme 2 if you want some more awesome Mega Man X action. Next time I dive into the X series, it's time for Mega Man Maverick Hunter X, a remake of the first game for the PSP. Thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And if you want to see more of me, you can catch me streaming all kinds of stuff over on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/CaseyTheGamer91. And I also have a Patreon where you can get perks like early video access and some other really cool stuff. And that is patreon.com/CaseyTheGamer91. You can find both of those links and all of my other links in the description below. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to catch you next time. Peace out.